So this is Bhaskar. I have 15 plus years of IT experience. I started my career with a traditional ETL tool, SSIS, and later I got an opportunity to work for Microsoft. I was there for more 8 years with different technologies. I work for Data Factory and Databricks, and currently I'm working for one of the Indian-based company as a senior data engineer with Microsoft Fabric and Azure Data Factory and Databricks. So as a data engineer, what we are going to do that I'm going to talk about it. How exactly the data is going to come from the business systems and how data is going to be processed. What are the primary responsibilities of this data engineer is? The main responsibility, I can say, data processing. So data engineers are going to do the data processing. The data processing is having two parts again. The data processing is going to be happen in two parts. One is data ingestion and the other is data transformation. So data processing is the responsibilities of data engineer. By using data processing, we can do the data ingestion and we can do the data transformation. So in order to do this activity, how exactly the data is going to be generated? And I'm going to talk about complete journey of Azure Data Engineers. Let's say, for example, I'm the business user or I'm the customer for many businesses. You can take an example. Okay, so if you are a customer, you know how we can use any business applications. If you take a HDFC bank, you know how you can transfer amount from one account to another account, right? Or if you take any business. So I wanted to say, let's say, for example, I wanted to transfer my my amount from one account to another account. So in order to do this, let's say, for example, I have a account in ICICI, just imagine. I'm just taking this business. You can take any business for understanding. So what this customer is going to do is he wanted to transfer amount from one account to another account. That means he wanted to do the transaction or he wanted to buy some product, whatever it is. Okay, so when they're making a transaction, definitely they have to provide few details. Source account details are going to be provided, and even target account details also is required, right? If you wanted to transfer amount, you have to provide your target account details also, and you're going to make this transaction at some point of time. So that means date and time details are required. Customer details are required because you are a customer for the bank. Okay, so like this, we are going to feed the details in order to make a transaction. If you take any transaction in the business, we are going to have this kind of details. And these details they're going to keep in the database. They're going to keep them in the database. Let me take a database. Your ICICI Bank is going to collect all these details from the customer and they're going to keep those details for reference. They wanted to understand their business, what is happening in the business. So in order to understand that, they have to keep the data. And if you're going to ask 6 months transactions, they're going to give a 6 months transactions to you. If I need a 6 months, then 6 months data they have to keep. If you need a 2 years of 2-year statements, then they need to have a 2-year statement. I mean, 2 years data they have to kept inside the database. Somewhere they have to keep it. But this particular system, we can say, wherever you are going to store your day-to-day transactions data, day-to-day activities, we are going to store in the database called OLTP system. We can call this as a OLTP system. They're going to store the data in the OLTP system. So this is going to be like a database. This database may be Oracle. Maybe most of you may be aware of it. I mean, at least name of the database, like SQL Server or MySQL, anything it is. They're just going to store the data in the database. So wherever they're going to store the data in the OLTP system, so that particular system we can call as business system. Wherever you store your day-to-day transactions data, that system we can call as a business system, or we can call it as a OLAP system. So this is going to have a max to max 6 months data we are going to have, but not more than that. If you need a 2 years of data, then this particular system is not going to be capable enough to provide. So then how they're going to handle if they need a 6 years of data or 10 years of data if they need, then they need to build a warehouse. They need to build a data warehouse. So how this data warehouse is going to be created, and I'll talk about it. So in general, this particular part is going to be taken care by application developers and SQL developers. Both together is going to work with this particular platform. We are not going to be part of this. And where exactly we are going to be part of is right from the OLTP system. Right from the OLTP system, our journey is going to start. Right from the OLTP system, our journey is going to start. As I said, let me take this as SQL Server 01. I can have one more database. Let me take Oracle here. Or I wanted to take a file system. So all these systems, we can call them as a business systems. Wherever you're going to store the data, wherever you're going to store the data, so that particular system we can call as a business system. Let me bring them into this place. So these systems I wanted to call as a OLTP system, or I wanted to call it as a business system. Business system, or we can call this as a OLTP system. Anything is fine to make you to understand. So wherever you're going to store the data, that particular system we can call it as a business system. So as a data engineer, what you're going to do here is specific to Azure Data Engineer. I'm just going to talk about it. We are going to have a data as a source. Let me bring this down. So in order to do this one, when we go for data transformation, when I go for data processing, we are going to have two parts. The data transformation is going to be, data processing is going to be happen in two parts. One is data ingestion, another is data transformation. Data ingestion and data transformation. So you know that mostly, if you're not aware of it, Azure data engineers are going to provide the solution for big data. A big data is a problem. A big data is a problem. The primary responsibility of Azure data engineers is to provide the solution for the data. Or simply I can say to provide the solution for big data, we are there as a data engineers. So what are the services that we are going to use in order to provide the solution for your big data? Is we are going to use Azure Data Factory. Just give me 1 minute. I have to bring my charger. I'm back. Yeah. So from here, in order to do data ingestion, we are going to use Azure Data Factory. We are going to use Azure Data Factory to do the data ingestion. We can extract the data. The process of taking data from any of these systems, we can call it as a extraction. So no one will ask you what is extraction and all, but I'm just making you to understand the way you are going to read that particular kind of process we can call as a data ingestion. We are
So
going to
ADF we will use for data injection.
yeah, data factory we are going to use for data ingestion.
Okay.
Okay, so once you bring it, once you connect and read the data, we have to load the data into the target. So the target here is going to be your Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, ADLS Gen 2. This ADLS Gen 2 is specifically designed for big data processing. It is designed for big data processing. We are going to ingest the data into Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So your target is going to be your Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 in order to feed the data into the target. And the process of feeding the data into this ADLS Gen 2, we can call it as a loading. We are loading the data into that. So this entire processing, we are going to call this as a data ingestion. So data ingestion is one of the primary responsibility of your data engineer. Now, so once the data is landed in Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, and we can also call this as a landing zone. Okay, so in place of ADLS Gen 2, you may have other storages also. Like if you go for AWS, they have a S3 bucket. So it all depends on the requirement we are going to use. And when it comes to Azure Data Engineer or Azure Data Engineering, 100% we are going to use Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 for landing. And once the data is landed here, then we are going to do the data transformation. The data transformation is going to be happened with the Databricks, Azure Databricks. We are going to read the data from Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. And here we are going to read with Data Factory is without writing any code, with completely user interface. But when it comes to here, we need to write the code, and it is not much difficult. I feel it is very simple. I'm going to make it easier to understand and work. So here also we are going to extract it. Your aim is to do the transformation. Your aim is to go for a data transformation. So in order to do the data transformation, first you have to extract the data. You have to extract the data. How we are going to do the extract, we'll see in our regular sessions. We are going to extract the data, and then we are going to applied data transformation by using Azure Data Factory. So data transformation is going to be happen here. So the transformation is going to be happen with the PySpark. Transformation is going to be happen with the PySpark. Your Databricks is the original owners of Spark. Your Databricks company is the original owners of the Spark. So they know each and everything in and out when you compare with others. So because of that reason, Databricks much more famous when you compare with others in the market. Okay, so Databricks is going to be used in order to do the data transformation. Since they associated with the Azure, we are calling this product as a Azure Databricks. And we are going to do the data transformation with this. And once the data is transformed, you have to write the data into the target. You have to write the data into the target. So your target is going to be ADLS Gen 2, and you're going to feed the data into the target. And this entire process that we can call it as a loading.